I will find you. You will ask, what will you do when they find me? Don't be scared of yourself.
Hi, I'm Dawn.
And I'm Ashley.
We would like to welcome you to the Work It, You Are Worth It podcast.
We're two friends sit around and talk about healing, growth, and healthy relationships.
Hey, Dawn, how are you today?
Hey, Ashley, I am great. How are you?
I'm awesome. It's been a nice, relaxing weekend after a long week at work, and I'm excited for this next week to get everything back to normal.
Good. Yeah, that's good. I meant to tell you this early, or ask. You remember in the other night in the meeting you said, I don't know who thought it was a good idea to do inventory at the end of the last week of our year end.
Yes, our year at work ends. It actually ended. December 1st was the last day of the last quarter of the financial year at work, and that was also the last day of our inventory.
There is a reason they did that. A very logical reason they did that. So, because it's year end, they need to truly know what they have in their inventory, right? It's accurate reporting. Usually, you're always going to do an inventory count right before year end. And it's especially important because of you and what you've done for the company, to come in, do this final inventory count, because they're starting fresh. They have a true, accurate inventory count with all the cost savings that you have done this year to now start the new fresh and with an accurate count, and then be able to make projections and have reliability on their inventory for the next year.
Yeah, I guess I was hoping they would have done it like at the beginning of November instead of the week after Thanksgiving.
Yeah. First of all, it's weird that their fiscal year ends then. I mean, I just think but that's why.
We're based out of Canada. That's why.
Yeah. So they needed to. It makes, from an accounting standpoint, it makes perfect sense.
But thank God it's over.
Yeah, right. Now, you shouldn't have to do it until. Are you going to start doing it quarterly, or are you going to still do it semi-annually?
We'll
whenever?
see. We'll see how it goes. Ideally, we're going to do quarterly counts as well as regular counts. So we'll see what happens, though. We're still trying to figure out a set plan.
Okay. That was it. I meant to tell you that earlier, and I forgot. So.
So how are you? How has your week been?
It's been amazing. Been kind of quiet. Nothing really has happened.
Good. Quiet is good. Quiet is not bad.
Yeah, I am reading a new book. I know we're going to talk about the book later, so that's exciting. I always love a new good book.
Yes, we mentioned this book a little bit before the podcast started, but I'm super excited for tell me the name of it.
It's called Facing Love Addiction, Giving Yourself the Power to Change the Way You Love by Pia Mellody. Like you said earlier, I've heard of Pia. I just have never read one of her books because my default is always Melody Beatty. But I'm on page 25 and I'm completely captivated by this book. And there was more things I read in here that were aha moments. And it's been a really long time since I've had true aha moments reading a book. Like where, oh, that's why I do that. Right now, at my point in recovery it's like, I still, okay, I know I did something and this is why I did it. And I know it's my intentions. And, I know, I know that stuff, even though sometimes I slip or I don't use come completely from a healthy place. At least I know why. This has given me aha moments that are putting more pieces in my puzzle, because I believe, right, until the day we die, we're an unfinished puzzle.
Right. I mean, aha moments are what create growth. If I don't have those aha moments, I'm not learning anything I never knew.
Right. Right.
So I think and as soon as you were saying that to me, I immediately ordered the book. I will have it tomorrow, and as soon as we read it, we will do a discussion on it. I'm super excited for that because it sounds like it's going to have some really, really good information in it.
Yeah, it really does, and I'm avoiding saying too much about it because I know, like, you haven't read it, and I want you to be able to get it without having all that, because I could be like, oh, I read this, and this is this, and this, because, but... no
preconceived notions.
Yes, so I will wait. But but one thing it did talk about, that you and I have talked about, and this is all I'll say, it did talk about, like, Sleeping Beauty.
Ooh.
Yeah. So anyone that does not know the story of Sleeping Beauty, was it Sleeping Beauty? Yeah, she needed the kiss.
Yeah.
She needed the kiss to wake up. And our Disney did not do women any favors with our idea of what.
Oh God, no. God, no. There was once upon a time that I actually asked a man in my life. I said, I desperately need you to be my white knight. And he said, my horse is ready. I will. And that was a genuine conversation with a man that I was 100% committed to. And I thought that was healthy and normal.
And I didn't realize, like, logically, I know that is not true, but but I will say this, with the way it was written and what it was said about it, I still do it.
Well, we will get into all of that here in the next few podcasts, I'm sure, because once I get it, we ain't going to put it down.
Nope. That's what I'm doing today, so that's what I'm going to do.
Well, so we decided this week that we were going to do a reading from Melody Beattie's Language of Letting Go. Right?
Yep.
And Dawn picked the last reading, so I decided I would pick this one. And I just I have the app on my phone because I don't have the book in front of me, but I just kind of scrolled through the calendar, and whichever one popped up is the one we decided to do. So for anyone that has it, wants to read along, we are using The Language of Letting Go by Melody Beattie, and I am going to read June 14th, Letting Go of Timing. When the time is right, child, when the time is right. How often have we heard those words from a friend, a sponsor, or higher power? We want things so badly, that job, that check, a relationship, a possession. We want our life to change. So we wait, sometimes patiently, sometimes anxiously, wondering all the while, when will the future bring me what I long for? Will I be happy then? We try to predict, circling dates on the calendar, asking questions. We forget that we don't hold the answers. The answers come from God. If we listen closely, we will hear them. When the time is right, child. When the time is right. Be happy now. Today I will relax. I am being prepared. I can let go of timing. I can stop manipulating outcomes. Good things will happen when the time is right, and they will happen naturally. So that was Melody Beattie's June 14th, Letting Go of Timing.
Go ahead. I just was going to say the sentence that picks, it's probably the shortest sentence in this whole thing, is be happy now. Like, that sounds so simple. Just be happy now.
It sounds very simple. A lot of times it's not that simple.
It's not. Yeah. So go ahead with what you were going to say. Which part did you say was going to?
Well, so what I was going to say is the only thing that I would change about this is instead of at the end here it says good things will happen when the time is right and they will happen naturally. I would change that from good things to all things. Mm-hmm. Everything will happen when the time is right. We don't have to force it. Gosh, I remember how many times, Dawn, did I say, why is this taking so long? Why can't it just be done? I know it's done. What the hell what am I waiting for? And you used to tell me all the time, when it's meant to happen, it'll happen. Stop trying to force it. When you're ready, you'll be ready. Just give it time. And sure enough, when the time was right and I was ready, it was done. And I don't know that there's anything in the world that doesn't apply to. Good things, bad things, day-to-day things. I mean, before we started recording the podcast, we were talking about love addiction and falling in love and when the time is right, like we don't need to go look for that. There's no reason to go search out something unless that's, I guess, what feels right in the moment. We don't need to force things. Things happen when they happen. I don't know any other way to say that, you know?
Yeah. So you said something, the whole thing with the timing, right? And one of the things I thought, what popped in my head was this whole situation with Nick that you've been going through, and I agree with you. All things will happen when the time is right, right? You weren't ready and didn't necessarily want to give up on your relationship, but it wasn't saying that it was good either, right? But it didn't matter. It doesn't matter what you thought. The time was right for the move for that divide to happen.
Oh, absolutely. And for the months before that I was ready and pushing myself, like I was ready. I was going there. I was on that path and I could see it coming so clearly. Mm-hmm. I couldn't understand. Like there were so many times I remember talking to you and saying, I know this is going to end. I know that this is not my forever. This is not going to last. And yet I couldn't do it. It wouldn't end. Something would always happen that would prevent that end from ever coming to a point until it was supposed to, until the time was right, until my higher power, because I don't call him God, but until my higher power and Nick's higher power said, now is when it is time for you guys. And then they could be the same higher power, right? It could just be one higher power. I don't know. I don't care. That's neither here nor there. But at the point that the universe, the energy, the higher power spoke and said, now it is time. It didn't matter if he was ready for weeks or days or months or years before that. It didn't matter if I was. It wasn't time until it was time.
Yeah. And so saying what you said, like I love that idea of changing the good because it is all things. I am more grateful in a way of the bad things happening when the time was right, because with being able to look at it from a healthier side of the street, to reflect on it, I know there was something I was learning. I know there was something I needed to learn. I might not have learned it in that moment when I was going through the pain and the agony and all of that. That's what I was learning something. I just didn't know it.
Right. You may not have processed it in the moment.
Right. And so I think I think sometimes the bad just get labeled bad, and I think we learn more lessons from the bad than we do the good.
I mean, isn't that where all of our growth comes from? Like, right, the good is great, and I'm sure that in the good we take some sort of lesson out of it. Maybe that's where our gratitude lesson comes from, right? But in the bad is where we learn how to be better. It's where we learn how to do differently, right? Because when things are going good, I'm not doing anything different. I'm staying the same because everything is good.
Right. I think about a relationship, and when we both have been, in many relationships, and when the relationship is good, when everybody's happy, are you stopping and saying, "Wow, this is good. How can I make this better?"
Right. No, not usually, right? Usually you're like, oh, this is great. This is good. Let's just keep going.
Right. It couldn't get any better than this, and we're done. We shut it out. We think it's just done. Like, this is it. It's in the bad situations where we're like, God, all we've been doing is fighting this way. The last couple of weeks, we've just not been on the same page. What do we need to do to get back on the same page? Right? Those are where you're asking the questions and looking for new ways to do things.
But even with those, right? Even with all of those questions and all of those bad things, change is not going to come until the time is right.
Right.
Good, bad, or indifferent, right? Like, maybe we're just talking about something like selling a house and moving. If the time isn't right, it doesn't matter how bad I want to sell my house. If the universe decides that I'm not selling my house, no one's going to buy it.
And
timing is everything. It's out of our control.
Everything. And we sit here and we stress and we worry and we lose sleep and right. I mean, I was notorious for that. Pre-recovery of, like, I'd lay in bed all night long just hashing the same things or different things over and over in many different.
Yeah, I used to drive home from work instead of doing it at night because thankfully I have been a sleeper. Like, I have insomnia, but it's more sleepwalking kind of insomnia. But I have always slept. So for me, it was like driving home from work and all of those unwanted thoughts about all the bad things, the worst case scenarios, the worry, the what ifs, every time I was in my car driving.
I have always been in my own head a storyteller. I can tell a story from so many different angles.
Oh, yeah. Overthinker, storyteller, empath. There's so many words I could use to describe what you're talking about. And I think where we were going with this when we started this sentence, which has turned into a whole different thing, we're good at that. I think where we were going with this is it does no good. Like, what is the point in telling ourselves all of those stories and all of those stressors and all of those worries and trying to play out all of those scenarios when what is meant to happen is going to happen when the time is right? If I am going to make $100 million, I will make $100 million when I am meant to. No matter how many hours I put in at work, I mean, it does matter, right? Because if I'm only doing an hour a week, then I'm not going to get anywhere. But if I'm doing my best and I'm giving my all, whether I do 40 hours or 100 hours, I'm giving my all. As long as I am trying, as long as I am being the best version of myself, as long as I am doing the best I can right now, then every single thing good that is meant for me will come.
I was actually thinking, and you kind of went right on into it. I have, for my entire life, as a little girl and whatever, is always patience is a virtue not seen in dawn. I've heard that my entire life. I just never could sit back and just let things happen, and but I never was effective, because what I'm thinking is, and what I want to kind of make clear in this is, we're not saying sit back and do nothing.
Right. Don't just sit and wait.
Yeah.
I have to try. I have to be the absolute best I can be right now. Maybe right now I can't get out of bed. As long as I am trying and doing my best, then it's good enough. Even if I only make it to the door and then I get back in bed. At least I tried, and that is good enough.
Right. Right.
I will get out the front door right? Like, if I'm one of those people that cannot leave my house, let's say I walk to the front door and I open the door and I close the door and I go back to the couch. That's not a failure. I made it to the door. I opened the door. Those are big steps. If I give myself credit for that and I take pride in the fact that I faced that fear enough to get the door open, then maybe tomorrow I'll be able to stick my head out. Maybe the next day I'll be able to take a step forward. And at the same time, if I get to that door and I open the door and then I go sit back down and I beat myself up for not being able to stick my head out or go out, then why on earth would I try again the next day? What reward is there for doing my best if my best isn't good enough?
One of the things I think about too is when we're trying to get back out into the dating world, right? Been in recovery and want to get back out there, start dating. And I'm sitting here on my couch and when God gives me, or HP gives me, I'm supposed to find my person, he will put them in my life. But I sit here on the couch and I never go anywhere. I never move. I stay in the walls of my apartment and expect the delivery pizza guy that I never order from to walk at my door, right? There is something to be said about I do have to live life to be able to get what I'm looking for.
Absolutely.
Because, I have to get out in the world. I have to be able to expose myself to people, because HP is powerful, but he is not going to just give you what you want with you doing nothing in return.
That reminds me what you just said, that reminds me of an analogy, a story, a metaphor that I heard about that. So there was this guy, and he was stuck on, so he was at his house, and there was a hurricane coming, there was a real nasty storm coming, big flood, whatever. And he was in his house, and the news comes on, and they're like, you gotta leave, everybody evacuate. And he's like, nope, God's gonna save me, I'm not leaving. So the storm comes, and now there's a boat, and there's some rescuers on a boat come to his door, and they're like, hey, come on, we're here to save you, we need to get you out of here. And he's like, nope, my God's gonna save me, I'm not going anywhere. And then the water comes, and now he's up on the second floor, and they come in with another boat, and no, God's coming, God's gonna save me, I'm not going. Well, so now he's on the roof, and he's stuck on the roof of the house, and they come in with a helicopter, and the helicopter's like, dude, we're here to save you, come on. And he's like, no, God is going to save me, I'm not going with you guys, God's got me. Well, so then the water rises more, and the man dies. And when he dies, he, of course, meets with God, and he says to God, I had faith, I waited for you, I knew you were going to save me, and yet you let me die. And God looks at him and says, dude, what the hell? I sent you a boat. I sent you a news broadcast, and then I sent you a boat, and then I sent you another boat, and then I sent you a helicopter. I cannot force you to save yourself.
Good analogy.
I love that. Like, we have to remember that we have a choice to make. And we have to choose to save ourselves when the opportunity comes. We can't just sit around waiting for some pizza delivery guy to show up on our front door when we never order pizza.
And I think that's, what I love about that analogy is so like we wait for God, HP, to give us this tap on the shoulder and say, this is the time. This is the time. Dawn, this is the time. But that's not how it works, right? I have to be aware. I have to be open. I have to think outside of the box. Oh, a boat's here asking me to leave. This could be a sign. Now, I don't run with that and be like, oh, here's my sign. I'm not going to get any other sign. This is it, right? I think it's just being open to what is presented.
Yeah, I mean, I think we have to be able to take in the information given and make a decision on what we want to do with that, right? Like I'm not going to walk up to the Kentucky Derby and just throw $1,000 on some random horse. I mean, you might, but what's the chances that you're going to win if you do that, right? If I'm going to make a bet on a horse, I'm going to go to the Derby. I'm going to do a little bit of research. I'm going to find what races these horses have won. I'm going to find how fast they are. I'm going to find how much training they had, how much their jockeys have done, what experience they have. I'm going to get my own information. And then, with all of the information presented to me, I'm going to make a logical conclusion. And then I am going to have faith that it's going to work out. It wouldn't make any sense to me to live life any other way after recovery. Before recovery, I would just go in and be like, ooh, that's the pretty horse. Let's go with that one. And then when I lost $1 million on 10 horses that I threw that same amount of money on because I just picked randomly, I would be mad at God for not letting me win. If I'd have just done the research and picked based off knowledge instead of whatever horse had the prettiest name, there was a much higher chance that I would have won.
So I've one of the things that I've been, where a place I've been, it's like, right, I'm getting close to actually wanting to date again. I've taken the last 14 months off of dating and really am glad, but I'm kind of in the back of my head, it's been kind of there. So I know something is happening in me, and I know it's kind of coming to fruition. But I'm actually going to be having knee replacements. And I don't want to focus on dating or try to focus on dating with knee replacements, right? It just, like, thinking about it from a logical standpoint, I meet someone, yes, I could have a communication, I could have conversations with them, but that's not going to be a good time to do that. I'm not going to be the best me in the moment of trying to deal with pain, physical therapy, and being, laid up in bed. And I don't want to go on dates with a brace, right? It's not the time for me to be more intentional about dating, right? When I'm ready to date, then I will consciously go on a dating app, and I'll put that out there. That doesn't mean right now I'm not open to it, right? I'm not against it. I can't do that until after the knee surgeries. There's no wall. If HP believes this is the time pre-knee surgeries that I am supposed to meet someone, I will meet someone. If HP believes that it's not the time to meet someone pre-knee surgery, I won't meet someone. And I think that's where it's like being more intentional is successful and should be considered, right? I need to be logical about what I'm going to be capable of doing for 3 months.
Right. I mean, I think the point of this entire reading is exactly what you're saying right now, right? Like, wanting something and being ready for something does not mean the timing is right. And when the timing is right, it'll happen.
Yeah.
Whether you think the timing is right or not. Like it's possible that you think the timing before knee surgery to meet someone and start dating isn't right, but it's very possible that you might go to the grocery store tomorrow and meet someone and start dating.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the whole, I think, in my opinion, the whole point of this reading is to say, right, like, just because I believe I am ready does not mean the timing is right. And if I have faith in my higher power, then I must also have faith that what's meant for me will come when the timing is right.
And then that takes us into the sentence that I said in the beginning, be happy now.
Right, which is
Right.
like what I was just getting ready to say. Even if what I think I have right now I don't want or I think isn't right, part of having that faith and part of being in this recovery and healthy living is accepting that if I have this right now, it's because it's meant for me. Finding a way to be happy now. Accept it, love it, appreciate it, find gratitude in what is currently going on. Mm-hmm. And trust me, I know that is not easy. Like, there are days where the gratitude just isn't there. There are moments where, like, where's the positive in this? There's been so many different moments over the last few months where I have had to stop and just been like, I need to find the positive in order to be okay. But where is the positive? What could possibly be the positive in this tragic situation? Being happy now is a choice. It's not an easy choice. And sometimes happiness, contentment, and joy aren't the same, right? I can be happy now and still feel sad. It's okay to be, I mean, like one part of my life is going so amazing. Actually, 2 or 3 or 4 parts of my life, they're just absolutely amazing. I have a wonderful job. I'm making really good money. I appreciate my team and my coworkers. My boss is amazing. My kids are amazing. All 3 of my kids are absolutely spectacular right now. I could give you 1,000 positive things about all 3 of my children. My house is good. My bills are paid. My car is really good. Nothing is wrong with any of that. And I am very, very happy in all of those things. And yet, the last 6 months with Nick and with our relationship has been hard. It has been tragic. It has been sad. It has been confusing. It is, right? So all of those other things, I am happy. I am happy now. And that's important. And even in that other aspect where there is sad and tragic and downward things, there's also good things. There's also positive things. I just have to look for them, right? They're a little bit harder to find, but they are there. It's a choice. It's not an easy choice. It's not an easy choice, but it is a choice.
I think the thing too is using the situation of like what's with everything with Nick and going on, right? Yes, it is sad. It's hard. It's, it's dealing with these emotions that you didn't want to have to deal with. Like, right, that wasn't your choice. Like, I don't want to say it wasn't your choice, but it was.
Right, I didn't want this.
Right.
This was not the outcome that I had in my head. Like, right, we all have, I want this outcome. I'll accept this outcome. I really don't want this outcome. I did not want this outcome. This was the outcome that I really did not want. And yet, there's...
And saying, oh, are you there?
No, yeah, you're good. Go ahead.
Okay. And the interesting thing about it is with Nick, you know, him deciding to move to Florida, and he is happy with his decision to have moved there. Right?
He's happier than I've seen him in months.
Right? The timing was right for him. The difference, I think, what we have to remember is the timing is what it is, but it doesn't mean it's going to be what we think it needs to be in our lives, right? The timing was right for you guys, and it was really right for Nick.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, there's all those negatives and all those downsides, and yet there's plenty of positives too. And while this was not the outcome that I wanted, it was the outcome I did not want, it was still the choice I made. I chose to say, we're not going to do this anymore. I chose to say, I'm no longer fighting for this. That's not to say he didn't also make that choice, right? Because he certainly didn't argue back or anything. So I'm sure he made that choice as well. And it just, the timing is what makes it happen. The timing is everything. Nick and I's relationship, not being boyfriend, girlfriend, fiance, living together, whatever you want to say, I don't know that was ever like us. I don't know that we were ever going to be together forever. I know that we needed each other in our lives in order to grow. He is a very different person than he was 17 years ago. I am a very different person than I was 17 years ago. We are both very different people than we were 3 years ago. And had we not been with each other, going through the things we went through together, neither of us would be who we are today. I have learned a great deal of things, a great many things about myself and about other people from him. So while there is all of the negative feelings and all of the negative energies, there is also all of the positive as well. And had any of this happened, right, had we really truly been done 5 years ago when we split up originally, I don't think those positives would have been there, right? I wouldn't have had the growth then that I have had now from getting back together with him and from trying to fix it and trying to make it work. I wouldn't have learned the things that I did had I not done that, had that timing not been what it was.
One of the things it talks about is today. It says, "Today I will relax," and then it says, "I am being prepared." And we keep touching on this, but I want to kind of go into it a little bit deeper. Is the "I am being prepared" part? What do we need to do, right? We can't just sit back and be like, okay, like we talked, here I am, and do nothing. What can we do to prepare ourselves for that time when it is right?
Prayer, meditation, journaling, authentic communication with yourself.
So self-care.
Yeah. A lot of,
Because
I mean, listen,
all those things are self-care.
right. I think the best way to prepare for anything and everything in life is to simply be the absolute best me I can in every single moment. Some moments, the best me I can be involves yelling, crying, stomping my foot, and cursing. And I don't like that version of me, but sometimes that's the best me I can be. And I accept that. I take accountability for that. I apologize for it when needed. And even in those moments, I still try to be kind while expressing myself. Other times, the best me is considerate and compassionate and empathetic and caring and honest and hardworking and just an absolute amazing version of myself. And in those moments, I'm amazed by myself. The thing for me is remembering that even in those bad moments, even when, I hate to call them bad moments because it's not bad, it's just a negative energy. It's just a shadow energy instead of a good light energy. But even in those moments when I'm feeling negative emotions, I'm still doing my best. And as long as I am doing my best in this moment, everything good is going to come. I don't know that there's, right, if I'm hitting someone, I'm not doing my best. If I'm calling people names, I am not doing my best. If I am hurting someone else without care about the fact that I am hurting them, then I am not doing my best. That doesn't mean that my best is the same as your best. Maybe your best is calling names. Maybe you aren't at a level where you don't call names. That's okay. Love yourself anyways. And take accountability for it. Like, oh, I'm so sorry. I just called you an asshole. I shouldn't have said that. What I meant to say is I am very frustrated and I don't know how to express what I need to get out right now. Right? Like, that is loving myself. That is self-care. Holding myself accountable and forcing myself to live with integrity within myself is the only way I have found to have self-care.
So reflection. That's what you're saying is, right, I need to reflect on situations and evaluate them and be able to find the lessons in them to take it forward, which means evaluate my behaviors as well as behaviors of others and determine what I want and I don't want.
While loving myself and being happy.
Right? That means getting out of the house. That means putting yourself out there, doing the things you enjoy doing, right? Being the best possible version of you, physically, mentally, right?
And being okay with it when you're not. Loving yourself anyways when you're not. When I fall down, when I miss the goal, when I drop the frisbee, when I whatever, forget my friend's name, whatever it is. Loving yourself anyways, not judging yourself, holding myself accountable and acknowledging that it's okay. Yes, I went into my boss's office on Thursday and I cursed a little bit and I cried and I let my frustrations out. Yes, I wish I hadn't have done that. And it's okay that I did that. I went into her office. I closed the door. I was respectful. I let my frustrations out, right? Like it's okay. It is right to acknowledge that I did something I wish I hadn't have done. And it is right to acknowledge that it's okay that I did what I shouldn't have done. I think that timing isn't ever going to be right until we can do both of those things within ourselves.
But then what happens when it's the timing has come? Like, okay, I've been waiting and I've been doing all this and now the timing is here. And whatever I was what I was looking for or wasn't looking for, whatever HP knew, said I was decided I needed, the time has come. Do I quit doing all that stuff?
Only if you want it to go away. Whatever it was that you were waiting for, whatever it was that you were working so hard for, now it's here. Do I stop working so hard for it? I mean, you could, but if you stop working for what you wanted, then what you wanted is going to stop being there.
And I'm thinking more of a self-care perspective, right?
Same thing, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Like if what I want is to be in an intimate relationship with somebody else, and I do the work I need to on myself to get to a place where I'm ready to be in a healthy, intimate relationship with somebody else, and I get in that relationship, and then I stop doing the work, I'm no longer in a healthy, intimate relationship with somebody else because I have stopped doing the work. If what I'm working for and wanting is a specific job, and I do the training and I do the work and I prove to my boss that I can get that job, and then I get that job and all of a sudden I stop doing the work, I'm not going to have that job anymore. So no, absolutely not. We don't stop doing the work once we get what we were working for, because then what we were working for goes away.
Right. And but then when it goes away, when we stop working for what we wanted and it goes away, then we get angry and resentful and we blame whoever it is outside of ourselves, God, other people. And in reality, it was us. It was me. It was me not continuing to live in my authentic, true self, being the best version of me. I know for me, staying up and present in my recovery is key. Without my recovery at the forefront of my life, I will not have healthy relationships in the future. And that doesn't mean just romantic relationship. It means all relationships. So when right, just because HP says, all right, here's the time, right, I'm going to show you this person, put this person in your path. I can't give up. Like, oh, it's here, he's wonderful, and I let my self-care go. And again, self-care meaning not just a pedicure and a manicure. It's for me, it's recovery work. It's friendships,
meditation, journaling, prayer.
Exactly. If I can't stop that, because then I'm not, like you said, and I love that you said this, right, is I am not going to have a healthy, intimate relationship because I have not maintained the healthy, intimate relationship I have with me. And I do not believe you can have a fully healthy, intimate relationship if each person in that relationship do not have their own healthy, intimate relationship with themselves.
Absolutely.
And that is something that, what scares me more than anything, considering getting back out there in the dating world, is I don't want to waste my time on someone that doesn't have that. It's so important for me. And does that take my dating pool down a lot? Yeah, it does. Right? As we get older, our dating pool gets smaller. In our 20s, our dating pool is so huge, right? as we get older, it gets smaller and smaller, and that's okay. But as I'm getting older, I'm realizing that I'm okay and I'm good with me and by being by myself, that I'm willing to wait and delve into that smaller pool to find the person I'm looking for, and not settle. Just not settle anymore.
I think
Right,
I think that's with every relationship, right? Like if we go back to my relationship with my mom, it's so different now than it was just 6 months ago. Like I remember when my son left for boot camp and my whole family was over and me and my mom got into this huge thing, and for months our relationship was super strained and we barely spoke, and now our relationship is much better, but it's different. It's different than it ever has been. It's every single relationship, whether that be the relationship with coworkers, bosses, parents, cousins, significant others, children's, it doesn't matter. Every single relationship, if we do the work, that relationship will change. Whether it changed to where this person is no longer in my life at all, this person is in my life in a very different way, this person is only in my life a little bit, it will change when you do the work. Sometimes it will change in a way that, in my opinion, is good. Sometimes my opinion will be that it's bad. I can't predict how it will change, but it will change.
There was one relationship that I did not hear you say. Maybe I just missed it.
My relationship with myself.
Yeah.
And my higher power, that one too. We always forget
that
about
one too.
those.
Right. It's so easy to go to outside of ourselves and outside of HP, but without my relationship with myself and HP being the most important relationships there are, the other relationships will never work.
You know, I think I lost my relationship with myself and my higher power when I was about 8 or 9 years old. And I did not regain my relationship with my higher power until I was 37. And I did not regain my relationship with myself until I was probably 37 or 38.
I was 47, 48. But it doesn't mean it's too late.
It's never too late. And it's interesting to know that my relationship with myself and my higher power, while I had no relationship with them, I did not consider myself, I did not consider my higher power, I did not think about them in any way, shape, or form. Literally, I was on autopilot where myself was concerned, and I shut my higher power out completely. They waited. They were always there.
Yes.
The minute I was willing to let myself in, the minute I was willing to let my higher power in, there they were.
You know, that's the beautiful thing about our higher power and ourselves. We're there, always there. I can have a moment, I can have a slip, and right, both my higher power and myself are going to step back and just wait. They're going to wait patiently. Let me do my thing, right? I might need to have a codependent tantrum. Might need to have feelings, and right, because I need to be able to work through feelings. I need to feel feelings. So if I'm feeling a certain way, and yes, it's unhealthy and it's a codependent feeling, I need to feel those feelings so then I can come out of those feelings, my HP, myself, right back with me, and we tackle those feelings that I was struggling with together to be able to understand them and develop them into a healthy way of dealing and learning from it.
For sure.
Well, Ashley, this was a fun topic.
Yeah, it has been interesting. Timing really is everything, and it's the one thing that we have absolutely no control over. Things do not happen in life until it's time, and we can't decide when it's time.
Yep.
Thank you so much for another great podcast. Thank you, listeners. Thank you, Dawn. I hope you all have an amazing week.
Thank you, Ashley. Next week, we'll be recording our 52nd episode, so we'll be 1 year in.
Woohoo!
I know, it's exciting. So that'll be coming, and so yeah, we'll be doing that next week. So thank you again, Ashley, for today. It's been good.
Absolutely. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
We would like to thank you for joining us on this journey of self-discovery. Visit the Work It website at workitYouAreWorthIt.com to submit your questions and topics for future episodes. And remember, work it because you are worth it.